We have made it to the halfway point here in year number 1 of the Golden State Warriors MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K25. In the last episode, of course, we had our very first prospect profile of the season, taking a look at some of the current top projected prospects in this year's draft, and we're going to look further down the draft board later in the season. But today, we're going to focus on simulating up to the trade deadline and talk about some possible moves that our team can make. Part of the reason why I picked the Warriors for this series is the amount of roster flexibility that this team has, and it's time to figure out what direction we want to go in. I feel like throughout the entire season, we've been in 6th place. We've never been higher or lower. Not necessarily a bad thing because the top 6 teams go to the playoffs, but keep in mind we're tied with the Spurs, who are in 7th. We're also tied with New Orleans, who's currently in 5th. So it is a very close race here in the middle of the Western Conference, and if we want to avoid the play-in tournament and make the playoffs, we're going to have to keep playing at a high level. Obviously, the big story of this season has been trying to figure out secondary scoring alongside Steph Curry. Obviously, Curry's been tremendous. 29 points per game on good shooting. He's been the same Steph Curry that we all know and love. However, the breakout and development of Jonathan Kuminga has been huge for this team. We have seen some really impressive flashes from him as somebody who can be a true secondary scorer, and he looks a lot more comfortable as a shot creator than he did towards the beginning of the season. 62% true shooting percentage. Estimated wins added nearly the same as last year. Here in the month of January, he is averaging 25 points per game so far, which is pretty much equal to that of Steph Curry, and he's been way more efficient than Steph. Curry's missed the last 4.5 games with an injury, so Kuminga's gotten to be the number 1 scoring option, and it's been a mixed bag. In his last game, he had 35 points, but on 35 shots. If we look at the games before Curry got hurt here in January, he has been balling, the best play of his career, and it seems like he's most comfortable as a sidekick to Steph Curry rather than the guy running the offense. Now, as good as Kuminga has been on offense, it has been equally bad for Draymond Green, and we've really got to talk about him because it has been rough on that end of the floor this year. 6 points per game on 37% shooting from the field and 24% from 3. He has shot poorly in the past, but this is an all-time low for Draymond. True shooting percentage of 47 and an estimated wins added of 0. He's not a positive player at all this season. He has high playmaking ratings, but those don't matter because he is such a poor scorer. Defenses are not going to respect him with the ball in his hands because they know he's not a threat to score it. Even though he's a good passer, he's not a good playmaker because he is such a net negative as a scorer that teams don't have to worry about that area of his game. Of course, he has another year guaranteed after this and then a team option, a very similar deal to that of Andrew Wiggins, which was regarded as the really bad contract for this team going into the year. But at least Wiggins is giving us positive basketball. We should have known this was the case with Draymond as soon as he got his chain snatched earlier in the year by his good friend Rudy Gobert. But at this point, Draymond's a negative asset. If we were to trade him away, we'd probably have to include picks or young players to offload him. And that leads me to my next point of how we want to go about our future. As I mentioned, I picked the Warriors because of the roster flexibility this team has, and we've got 4 decisions we can make, whether that's at the trade deadline or in the offseason. The first choice, trade Steph, start fresh. It's pretty simple. We trade Steph Curry away for a Godfather package, and we look to rebuild from the ground up, building through the draft and some of the young players on the roster like Kuminga and Podziemski. The second door we can open is still selling, trading away some of our veterans, look to add some young players and draft picks, but hold on to Steph Curry and keep him for the remainder of his career. The last 2 options are probably the more fun choices. Number 3, add a second star to pair with Steph. We'd have to trade away many of our young players. We'd have to trade away multiple first-round picks, but getting a true second co-star to pair with Curry. And then the last choice is add elite role players without having to send the farm, but getting multiple guys who we feel fit Steph Curry very well and will be able to pair with him to hopefully put this team back into contention. So as I mentioned, the first option there is to trade Steph Curry away. And really the only way this is going to work is if we get a really good offer. I put him in the trade finder just out of curiosity, and to my surprise, there were actually some good ones. We can get Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. We can also get Ja Morant from the Grizzlies. I don't think it would make sense for either of those two teams to make those deals, and none of these other trades really entice me. I want some combination of players and draft picks, and I get it. He's going to be 37 years old. Not many teams are going to be looking to do that. So I figured that was always the least likely option of the four. The second choice would be to try to trade away some of our other veteran players, add some more draft picks, and build around the young talent on our roster. We don't have a ton of young talent, and we don't have a ton of draft picks, so maybe giving away some of our older players could be helpful. But now let's talk about the fun possibility of adding a second star to this roster. Obviously, Jonathan Kuminga's played really well this year. Is he a number 2 option for a championship team? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. We'll see. So realistically, a trade package would feature 1 or 2 salary fillers, Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green. We have enough picks to make this work since we have control of our own draft picks, but we're not going to be able to outbid a team like Oklahoma City, San Antonio, even New Orleans if they are in on acquiring the same star that we are. And we're also going to have to probably give away some young players, and this is going to be the hard part for us because other than Podziemski and Kuminga and maybe Moses Moody, we're probably not going to have any enticing assets. Trace Jackson-Davis maybe as well, but other than Pods and Kuminga, there isn't really anybody else on the roster who I would consider to be a needle mover. The two guys the Warriors were linked to in the offseason were Paul George with the Sixers and Lauri Markkanen with the Jazz. Both of those guys have just recently signed new contracts, so those two are off the table. Markkanen, of course, agreeing to an in-house 5-year extension. And as I look for a secondary star, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of these guys at the very top of the list. I think realistically, at least an 87 overall, somebody who can come in here, average 23, 24, 25 points per game, or provide some other very productive skill, such as high-level defense. This is probably what a trade package would look like. Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, a young player such as Moses Moody, and multiple draft picks. So the first avenue we could look at is Zach LaVine, and obviously he's going to cost a lot less than the trade package I just mentioned because it's no secret that the Bulls have been trying to trade him away. Now, LaVine has rebuilt some of his trade value this year. He's had a really good year, averaging around 23 points per game. And at this time last year, it seemed like the Bulls were trying to give him away for nothing. I think at this point, he has some positive value, obviously not that much. A salary filler, a decent young player like Moses Moody, and a first-round pick maybe gets it done. But would LaVine even be a good fit here to begin with? Him and Curry in the same backcourt is going to provide some highlights, but also some horrible defense. Another interesting option would be Julius Randle with the New York Knicks. I'm not sure how willing the Knicks would be to trading him away, considering they are a title contender. But ever since they acquired OG Anunoby and more recently Mikal Bridges, it's kind of felt like Julius Randle is sort of the odd man out on this roster, and he doesn't really fit all that well. And maybe trading him away, adding some picks, adding some role players could give the Knicks more of an arsenal to make another move in the future. I think a Randle and Curry duo would be pretty fun offensively. He's cleaned up his efficiency issues, averaging 22 a game on good shooting splits. He's a positive playmaker. He's a good enough defender. I think he would pair up pretty nicely in our system. Let's look at some bigger swings now. Zion Williamson with New Orleans feels unlikely. Given that the Pelicans are having a good season, they're currently in 5th place. But it's been clear that Zion's relationship with New Orleans has been rocky. And I think him with Curry would be an incredible fit. The pick and roll between those two guys would be unguardable. Both of these guys can play on the ball. They'll be able to take pressure off of each other. And I think that's going to make this offense really scary. But again, I'm not really sure how willing the Pelicans would be to doing that. If we're looking for some more older options, I think Kawhi Leonard could be a fascinating one with the Clippers. He signed a new deal here relatively recently, but I'm not sure that the Clippers are fully sold on keeping him around, and I think it would make sense for them to look to maybe restart and get some young assets. Kawhi's had a great season, averaging 28 a game. He's been fully healthy, and when he signed his contract extension last year with the Clippers, they made that move thinking that Paul George would return and they would run it back with this core. Obviously, that has not been the case with Paul George leaving, and that could lead to a change of plans. I don't think enough people have talked about the idea of Jimmy Butler potentially leaving Miami, but I think it's an idea that could make sense, and I think he'd be an intriguing fit here with Curry. Butler's 35 years old, and I think he would pair nicely with Steph Curry, given his winning DNA. He is a playoff performer. His numbers have gone down this year in the regular season, but again, I'm not really worried about it because he plays his best ball in April and May. Now, keep in mind, he is a player option this upcoming year. So on one hand, he's a free agent. His trade value is going to be a lot less than it would be otherwise. But there's also a chance maybe we could get him in free agency and not have to give away a big trade package. The last option here, I figured I would have to mention him, is going to be LeBron James with the Los Angeles Lakers. We saw LeBron and Steph team up during the Olympics, and it seemed like those two guys really enjoyed being teammates together. And since Team USA won the gold, a lot of people have talked about the idea of LeBron and Curry teaming up. And if they were to do so, I think it would be a lot easier to make it happen in Golden State. If this were to happen, I imagine it would be a package deal, and Bronny James would join him. I don't think that really changes a whole lot if we look at the perspective of the trade. Obviously, LeBron has had another strong season, but again, keep in mind, he is 40 years old. I would say we have maybe a year and a half with him before he looks to retire. So what does that do for his trade value? On one hand, he's 40, so he can't cost that much, but on the other hand, it's LeBron James. He is still going to cost quite a bit, and he's also a free agent at the end of the year. He is a player option. So would it be worth it for us to give multiple picks and multiple players for a 40-year-old who could retire as soon as this offseason? So with that, I figured it wouldn't hurt to call these teams up and see what types of trade packages they'd be interested in. We did not receive any offers for Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James, but the other four players I inquired about, it seemed like those teams were willing to discuss. We'll start with the Chicago Bulls and Zach LaVine. Obviously, this would be the easiest trade to make work. We'd be able to get him and Kobe White, theoretically. I feel like Kobe White would be the big get here. We would have to give up Jonathan Kuminga, but we'd be getting two good players for him, let alone just one. But Kuminga's the best asset in this deal, and I would be hesitant to trade him away for these two. For Jimmy Butler, I figured it would only be Steph Curry, and I was wrong. The exact same trade we were offered from the Bulls is on the table for Butler and Josh Richardson. So theoretically, we could trade away Jonathan Kuminga for Jimmy Butler. It's risky. Jimmy Butler is a better player right now than Jonathan Kuminga, but Kuminga's 13 years younger and has had an incredible season, showing a lot of flashes. For Julius Randle, again, Jonathan Kuminga would be the main piece we give away. We could also swap Draymond Green for Mitchell Robinson, which would be a huge win. Robinson would be a great fit with us, and then the other deals involve Steph Curry. This trade would be a complete steal. Trace Jackson Davis and Draymond Green, but it's not realistic for the Knicks, so I'm obviously not going to consider that. I don't know why Draymond is 3.5 stars. Zion is the interesting one, though, because I figured it would only be Steph Curry here, and I was wrong. We can get him and Yves Missi, their first-round pick, who could theoretically be our long-term center, for Draymond, Kuminga, and a top 10 protected first-round pick this year. And if we made this trade, that would probably be like pick 20. This is a fascinating deal. Basically, we would be trading away Jonathan Kuminga and say the 20th pick for Zion Williamson and Yves Missi. I think that's pretty good value. I don't think it makes a ton of sense for the Pelicans. We would have to give up more, but the fact that they're open to the idea is interesting. Would it be worth it to trade Jonathan Kuminga away for one of these stars? He's had a great season. He's shown a ton of flashes, and that's shown by the amount of teams across the NBA who are interested in him. This is a great problem to have. Jonathan Kuminga's development making him a good enough trade asset to go out and get some superstars. I don't think that was the case at the beginning of the year. But we also have to keep in mind he's a free agent. He will be restricted and we can match any contract that's given to him. But considering seemingly every team in the NBA is interested in acquiring him, somebody's going to offer him a max contract. And while he has looked like a max player at times this year, it hasn't necessarily been consistent. And maybe trading him away for a more established, more consistent star like Zion Williamson could be worth it, even if it means mortgaging our future of draft picks and the little amount of young talent we have left on the roster. It's an interesting dilemma, and it's a good dilemma in one sense, again, because it shows how good Jonathan Kuminga has been this year, and it shows that he is in the conversation to be a big-time trade asset. The final avenue we can take is looking to add some high-level role players. This would obviously mean we don't have to trade away guys like Kuminga and probably not Brendan Pajemski either. But it's also clear that this team is rough around the edges. We have a few holes. I think we could use some more consistent on-ball defending guards. DeAnthony Melton does that at a pretty high level, but that's it. And keep in mind, he's an inefficient offensive player who is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. It never hurts to add more 3-and-D wings. I think that could certainly be a possibility. And then, of course, the biggest need on this roster is a rim-running big man who is taller than 6'9", ideally. Trayce Jackson-Davis has had a great month of January, but is he the long-term starting center? I don't know. He's looked like it this month, but we haven't gotten consistent play out of him either. So there's two guys who I feel like would be completely perfect fits here. The first one is Myles Turner with the Indiana Pacers. There aren't many role players around the league who can truly move the needle. I would say the OG Anunoby trade to the Knicks and Isaiah Hartenstein signing with the Thunder are two examples of role players who truly move the needle for contenders. And I think Myles Turner can be that for us. He can space the floor, he can score from all three levels, and he's a really good defender. Phenomenal shot blocker. He's averaged 3 blocks per game this year, but he's also a free agent at the end of the season and will be available for us to sign in the offseason. Would it make more sense to wait, hope he doesn't extend with Indiana, and we can try to get him in free agency? Jarrett Allen is the other choice. He's not as good of a perimeter shooter as Myles Turner is, but he is a better rebounder. The one big difference between these two guys is that Jarrett Allen is 6'9". Obviously, the tallest players on our roster are only 6'9". I'd rather somebody a little bit bigger, but beggars can't always be choosers. He has a year and a half left on his deal, so I think that would make him a little bit more expensive than Myles Turner would. Both the Pacers and the Cavs are pretty good teams, so I don't think either of these squads are going to be looking to trade these two players away. And if they do, it's going to be for a large offer. Maybe not as much as it would take to get a second star, but it would be pretty close. If Mikal Bridges can fetch 4 first-round picks and then some, these guys would certainly fetch multiple first-rounders and multiple solid young players. I wanted to find other guys like them, maybe cheaper options, bigs who aren't super expensive. They can score from all three levels somewhat, and they're good, versatile defenders. There's only 2 players who fit this criteria, Jarrett Allen and Myles Turner. It shows that these types of players are not easy to get, which is why I think it would cost an arm and a leg to trade for either one of these guys, even if they're not a secondary scoring star. I think they would provide as much value as some of the other guys we went over. So I figured I would make the criteria a little bit looser, move some of these grades down a bit. Now there's 4 players who fit the list. Obviously, Allen and Turner are there, along with Chet Holmgren. That's not going to happen. And Onyeka Okongwu with Atlanta. This would actually be a really good fit, but there's one problem. He tore his Achilles, and he has a history of injuries. Obviously, he's not going to be able to play the rest of this year, and he's only played more than 55 games in 1 out of 5 seasons. So that really would be a risky investment for us to make. I figured I would look at the trade finder for Myles Turner and Jarrett Allen, and unfortunately, we did not get any offers for either of them, which surprised me considering teams like the Heat and the Pelicans and the Knicks were willing to inquire on their second stars. That shows how much it would cost to get these guys, not too far off from the prices that it would take to get a Julius Randle or a Jimmy Butler. Some other role players I would look at include Jalen Suggs. He's had a big year for Orlando, but he is a free agent, and the Magic have been struggling. Lonzo Ball is a reclamation project. He's had a bad season offensively. I don't think he would cost much, but I think it could be an interesting idea. He's been the guard version this year of Draymond, shooting 37% himself. Tyus Jones in Phoenix could work. I'm not sure why nobody was interested in signing him in the offseason. Peyton Pritchard could be a fun one. I'm not entirely sure how willing Boston would be to trading him away, but I think he'd be a really good backup guard for us. In terms of twos who can be 3-and-D guys, I would look at Colin Sexton with the Jazz. He's quietly been pretty good since the trade with Cleveland. Obviously not a great defender, but he's good enough, and he's a strong scorer. Keon Ellis in Sacramento, Klay Thompson's worst nightmare, can shoot the 3-ball, and he can guard at a very high level. Ayo Dosunmu in Chicago, really smart player. He's had a super efficient season, over 55% from the field, and he's a solid defender. Jeremy Grant is on a large contract, but he would fit this roster really nicely, and I don't think he would cost that much to get. Isaiah Stewart as a big who can pop out, shoot the 3, and play decent defense. I wish he was a little taller than 6'8", But otherwise, I think he'd be a perfect fit. And then in terms of some fives, Mark Williams has had a disappointing season in Charlotte. He's struggled to stay healthy. I think that could work. Wendell Carter's been an important piece with Orlando. I don't know how willing they'd be to trading him, but he's a guy to keep an eye on. Walker Kessler has regressed in each of his 3 seasons with Utah. I think the Jazz could be looking to trade him away. And then this one might be a long shot. I'm not sure how willing the Pistons would be to trading Jalen Duren. I'd like a big who can shoot and defend, and he can't really do either of those things. But he's a great athlete, great rebounder, good interior scorer. And if the defense comes along, I think he will be a really good player. Because of that, I don't know how willing the Pistons would be to trading him away. And I think his timeline is a little bit behind what we might be looking for. But could be worth the idea. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I know we went over a lot there. Should we go after a second star? Should we look to add some of those role players? Or should we sell? Maybe trade away Steph Curry. We are going to make a change in the rotation. Draymond Green is going to come off the bench now. My thought process here is that he has sucked as a starter, so this can't get worse, right? Against Boston, Kyle Anderson gets hurt, but we would win. The Celtics are 16-27. They are horrible. I don't know why. 26 for Buddy, 23 for Curry. Draymond Green went 3 for 8 from the field. He shot 37%, keeping his field goal percentage exactly the same. And that brings us to our matchup here against Sacramento. The Kings are kind of the geographic rival for us in the Bay Area. No De'Aaron Fox. He is hurt. He's had a great season. Domantas Sabonis has also had a great season, career-high averages in scoring. DeMar DeRozan and Keegan Murray, of course, really good pieces. I'm not really sure why Malik Monk is starting over Keon Ellis. Monk is averaging 20, 21 points per game this year. He's been really good. But I feel like it would make more sense to have him run with the twos and Keon Ellis start because he can guard the opposing team's best player and he can space the floor, with Monk being the more traditional microwave scorer. But what do I know? I'm not running the Kings. So let's take a look at both lineups. With no De'Aaron Fox, it'll be Jordan McLaughlin at the 1, running the offense for Sacramento, the former Timberwolf. That'll be interesting. They're certainly going to rely on Sabonis on the ball more than ever, and I think we're going to see DeMar DeRozan really take on a big role as a scorer. We've struggled against high-level scoring wings. You saw us in the last episode against the Sixers. Paul George had 30 in the first half. So Trace Jackson-Davis wins the tip, and we are underway here in Sacramento. These two neighbors facing off against each other, as Andrew Wiggins is now going to be in the starting lineup replacing Draymond Green. Gets it over to Buddy Hield, the former Sacramento King, the longtime King, in for the layup, and he gets the scoring started. DeRozan, step back jumper is good. DeMarvelous DeRozan with the mid-ranger, obviously the specialty of his game. Here's Curry with it off the screen. Andrew Wiggins for 3, and that one will fall. Nice shot for Wiggins, and it's 5-2. Malik Monk with it in the corner, guarded by Hield. Gets it over to DeRozan off the screen. Not known for his ability as a three-point shooter, but DeRozan's got 5 early, 2 for 2 from the field, and we're knotted up. Kuminga on the drive. That works. It wasn't pretty, but 2 points are 2 points. He kind of dunks on Keegan Murray. I'll count it. You know what? We'll take it. He scored. That's what matters. 7-5. Here is Keegan Murray with it, guarded by Kuminga, looking to get somebody off the screen. It's DeRozan inside with the backdoor cut. Nobody inside to stop him. Wiggins not able to get there quick enough, and we're tied again. Curry with a nice move. No good. Grabs his own miss. Look at Curry with the offensive rebound, doing the dirty work. And he's there with the putback. Step back 3 for Steph is no good. And the Kings will look to run the floor in transition. Keegan Murray out to Jordan McLaughlin for 3. And that one is good. Sacramento takes the lead. It is now 10-9. I believe their first lead of the night. Lyles gets it back to McLaughlin. Over to Malik Monk. And that one rattles in. A lucky roll for Monk. Sacramento back ahead, 13-11. Curry with it on the drive, guarded by Monk. That's the matchup we're looking for right now. But Buddy Hield blows by McLaughlin. So, hey, that works too. 17-13. Kings on a nice little run. Hield, step back. Trey ball is good. Quick start for Buddy Buckets. He's got 7. And it's 17-16. Keon Ellis in the corner. Gets it to DeMar off the screen. And the hot start for DeRozan continues. He's got 14, which is almost equal to the entire Warriors team so far. Keon Ellis open 3. That one is good. Remember when Klay Thompson went 0 for 10 in an elimination game? He was in hell from Keon Ellis. 23-17. Buddy Hield pull-up jumper is good. He's got 10 already coming off his big game against Boston. Buddy Hield has been the entire offense today. Curry and Kuminga have been no-shows as DeRozan throws it up over Hield. He's got 16 while the rest of the team has 9. Curry with it on the drive in the corner. Dishes it to the big man. Kevon Looney for 3. Not known for his outside shot, but you got to respect Looney beyond the three-point line. One-score game. Curry, drive, layup, and the foul. Keon Ellis tries to draw the charge. Feet were not set. We're tied at 25. Lyles inside, no good. Nice defense by Kevon Looney. Warriors will get the last shot here in the first quarter, and most likely it will be Curry who takes the shot. Slow start so far for Steph. He gets it over to Moses Moody. They're trying to get Curry open off the ball. It's not working on the ball, but they're going to have to shoot this ball now. Curry's jumper, no good. Didn't get it off in time anyway. And that'll wrap up a competitive, low-scoring first quarter. Knotted up at 25, as that brings us into the second. Here is the rookie out of Providence, Devin Carter, the Friar. Gets it over to Keon Ellis. Right wing 3 is good. Another triple for Ellis. 25-30. Carter with it off the screen. Inside with a dime. That's Orlando Robinson who makes the layup. And the Kings add to their lead, a 7-0 run to start the second for Sacramento. Curry and Kuminga got to get rolling as Curry's trapped. Had multiple open shooters, but he goes for the layup in contact. Ron Reed, but it worked. He's now got 7 on 3 of 9 shooting. Curry, pump fake, nifty pass over to Moses Moody. Step back 3 is good! Moody delivers the triple. Nice response here for the Warriors to bring the lead within 2. And the Kings will have to call a timeout. 32-30. Screen from Trayce Jackson-Davis. Curry inside. Layup is good. And after a slow start in the first quarter, Curry really seems to be finding his footing. Knotted up at 32. Here is Threegan Murray with the triple over Trayce Jackson-Davis. Couple of Big Ten guys as it's a 4-point game. McLaughlin inside. Ellis out to Domas. Domantas Sabonis with the layup. He's having the best season of his career, which says something because obviously he's been a fantastic player for a while now. Curry thinks about the shot, instead sends it inside for the big man, Trayce Jackson-Davis, who has basically become this team's full-time starting center. He has taken the spot over Kevon Looney. Shot no good. Melton unable to end up with the rebound, and Keon Ellis gets it. In transition, it's Jordan McLaughlin with it, and that one is good. An 8-point game. Now a 9-point lead for the Kings. Kuminga, pump fake over to TJD, has the mismatch in the corner. Kuminga, bang! Corner 3 for Jonathan Kuminga. He's got 5, and it's a 4-point game as McLaughlin brings it up for Sacramento, gets by Curry, and another lucky bounce for Sacramento. They're up by 8 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Curry with it, looking for the pick and roll. Andrew Wiggins, pump fake, back out to Curry. Trying to get the pick and roll again, working here with Wiggins. Long 2 is good. I will say, if that was Zion Williamson, that play would have been executed a lot easier. Just saying. 50-44, Malik Monk with it in the corner for 3. That one falls. It's a 9-point lead. Our offense has just struggled to find their footing here in this second quarter. We don't even have 20 points in this frame. It has been tough to watch. Shot clock unplugged. Curry with it on the drive. Layup is good. Count it. And the foul. And 1. McLaughlin called for the foul, and it's 55-47. The Kings now will get the last shot. DeMar DeRozan with it over to Sabonis. Open 3 is no good. That was a really nice look, but he is unable to get that one to fall, and that'll wrap up the first half. Sacramento with the edge, 55-47. Our offense has been hard to watch. 25 points in the first, 22 in the second. Curry's got 14. He's played better as the game has gone along, but he's still been pretty efficient so far. Jonathan Kuminga hasn't really done anything yet. And Sacramento's obviously been a lot more successful on that end of the floor. DeRozan's got 21, leading the way as that brings us into the third. Malik Monk with the two-handed slamma-jamma. Look at this play, getting by Buddy Hield, going up, up, and away. Double-digit lead, I believe Sacramento's biggest of the night. Pump fake, Kuminga, corner 3 is good. Nice move by Jonathan Kuminga, again showing his shot creation upside that he has shown throughout the last 2 months here at the season. Kings get the 3 right back. That might be the luckiest bounce I've ever seen. What type of voodoo magic does Keegan Murray have on that rim? Kings up by a dozen. Curry on the drive. Layup no good. Trace Jackson-Davis with the rebound. Back to Curry. Golden State's got to reset the possession. That's what they'll do. Wiggins with it now. Gets the screen on the drive. Wiggins no good. Kuminga with the offensive rebound. And now Golden State will get a third opportunity. Curry, step back. Big possession for the Warriors. They got 3 chances that time. And third time's the charm. Curry with it. Nifty move. And he is starting to heat up a little bit. Steph Curry for 3. He's got 19. 64-55 off the screen. Nice play there by Keegan Murray, who's starting to heat up after a slow start. Sacramento up by 9. McLaughlin with it, guarded by Curry. Nice move by Jordan McLaughlin. The layup is good, and the Kings' offense is looking nice early in this third quarter. 11-point game. Buddy Hield with it, looking for the screen from Big Loon. Hield on the drive, pump fake, out to the big man, Looney. Nice touch around the basket. Productive day for Kevon Looney. He's got 7 and 7. He's been better than Trace Jackson-Davis in this one. Wiggins throws it up. It goes in with the foul. And 1. It's called on DeRozan. Then the lead is within 7. He would miss the 3-throw, however, and in transition, DeRozan takes it himself, hits the mid-range jumper. So the missed 3-throw by Wiggins ends up being a 3-point swing. That's a big deal. Buddy Hield will look to get that 3 right back, but his shot rattles out. An unlucky roll, and now the Kings have it on the other end. Malik Monk blows by Kuminga, who falls asleep at the wheel. Lights are on, but nobody's home. 11-point game. Andrew Wiggins with it on the drive in the corner. Buddy Hield for 3. And Buddy Hield's back on the board after his hot start. Golden State's got to look to him more. He's played well over these last few games. 8-point lead. What a move by McLaughlin as he is in for the layup. Not many times does DeAnthony Melton get crossed up, but he does by Jordan McLaughlin of all people. Kuminga in for the throwdown. 8-point game. Kings call a timeout. The Warriors' offense has looked a lot better in this third quarter, but Sacramento is hanging stride for stride. Draymond in the corner gets it over to Steph Curry. Curry, guarded by Keon Ellis, looks to get the screen. He wants to get Ellis off of him in any way possible, and he does with the mid-range. 6-point game. Curry back with it on the following possession. Gets it over to Draymond Green in the corner. Moses Moody for 3, and the lead is within 3. A 1-score game all of a sudden. Monk heaves it up, and he's fouled at the end of the shot clock. Number 1 rule of defense, DeAnthony, don't foul the jump shooter, and especially don't do it when the shot clock is winding down and he's 35 feet beyond the hoop. He would get 2 of 3 at the line, and then he would hit a 3 on the very next possession. And just like that, the lead is right back up to 8. Here's Melton with it in the corner. Gets the screen on the drive with a dime for the big man, Trace Jackson-Davis, who's in for the dunk. 6-point game. DeRozan on the drive. Bullies Moses Moody. That one's no good. Gets it back, and the putback will fall. Good play there by DeRozan to follow his miss. 8-point game. Pump fake. Curry with it. Guarded by Monk, and he gets the layup. The Warriors were playing a little 2-man game there. They were waiting for Curry to get an easy look at the basket with him being guarded by a not-so-good defender with Malik Monk. DeRozan throws it up and good. DeMar DeRozan is hot here in this third, and it's an 8-point game, 83-75. Shot clock winding down. Kings likely to get the last shot unless they don't hold. Monk with the drive. Blocked at the rim. Trace Jackson-Davis with the snuff. Kings get it back. Lyle's no good. Jackson-Davis again with the contest. Curry's going to have to throw it up. Gets a good look, but it's off the mark. An impressive sequence there defensively by Trace Jackson-Davis. Our offense looked pretty good in that quarter, but the lead stays at 8. We did not cut into the scoreboard and deficit at all. Got to go on a run here in the fourth, and that's not a good start. Red Velvet, Kevin Huerter hits the triple. 11-point lead. Curry on the drive. Layup is good. Nice move for Steph. He's been good in this second half. He's got 25 in the corner for Kuminga. Pump fake on the drive. Kuminga lays it up and in. Nice play there for Jonathan Kuminga. He's starting to heat up a little bit after a slow start. If we can get Curry and Kuminga going, that'd be a big deal. Sabonis inside. That one is good. Again, what is with these lucky bounces? I feel like the Kings put magnets on the rim because some of these bounces seem kind of ridiculous. Kuminga, double fake on the drive. And one! Jonathan Kuminga with the throwdown over Sabonis. 89-82. Under 7 to go. Keon Ellis on the drive. Layup is good. And even with Golden State getting some big shots, cutting into this lead, the Kings are not letting them make a dent. It's a 9-point game. Curry on the drive. Layup is good. Another and one. The former Warrior assistant Mike Brown does not like what he sees. 6-point game. Moody brings it up. He's had a productive day for Golden State. To Curry in the corner. Bang! Big three for Steph. And the lead is within 3. This is the run Golden State needed. They've got to get a few stops on defense. Ellis on the drive. He gets an and one of his own. Blows by Payton. Looney with the foul. Lead back up to 6. Curry with it. He's trapped. Over to Gary Payton II on the drive. And one slam! What is happening? These teams are putting on a show. Payton's doing some push-ups. He would miss the 3 throw, but the Warriors will get it back shortly thereafter. Wiggins on the drive. Layup is good, and the lead is within 2. 92-94, the closest this game has been in the second half. Monk, Herter off the screen. Bang! Big 3 for Herter. The lead is back up to 2 scores. Ellis inside for Malik Monk. Gets it over to Herter. Herter, fadeaway is... What the hell? How do they keep getting these bounces? This is unbelievable. The luck that this team has is insane. 7-point lead. Curry's trapped. Wiggins wide open. Top of the key. 3 is good. And the lead is within 4. Wiggins pass is tipped and stolen by Sabonis. He gets it over to DeRozan on the drive. Blocked by Draymond. What a play. Draymond to Buddy. Inside for Jackson Davis. And one slam. What a sequence for the Warriors. And they can make it a 2-point game. The best offense is good defense. We got to look at this from the start. Off the turnover, DeRozan in transition. He tries to go for the fancy layup, and Draymond is having none of it. Catches it in midair. And then Jackson Davis with the and one dunk. 100-98 following the 3 throw. Lead is at 2. Biggest possession of the game. McLaughlin, 3 on the way. And Sacramento is back up by 5. He gets space off the screen. And Golden State's quick momentum trip does not last. Another denial at the rim. That's Trace Jackson Davis with the block on Murray. Sacramento inbound. Sabonis inside. No good. Another big defensive play by TJD. Kuminga with the rebound is 10th. Out to Curry. Inside for the big man. Another slam for Trace Jackson Davis, who has been giving Sacramento hell these last couple of minutes. 3-point game under 2 to go. Grab your popcorn. What a move by DeMar. Nothing you can do there but tip your cap. That was an incredible play by the savvy veteran. 5-point game. Draymond with the dunk. We really didn't want to give Draymond the ball on that possession. I'm happy he got rid of it as soon as he touched it for the slam. 3-point game. Just over a minute to go. Why is Malik Monk wide open? Draymond was slow to get back on defense, which caused the entire defensive possession to become awry, leaving Monk open. Curry at the rim. That one is good. Quick layup. He's got 35. And now Golden State will look to run the press here with a minute to go. Physical defense from Kuminga on DeRozan. Pull-up jumper. What is with these bounces? I swear, this is unbelievable. 112-106. Curry floats it up. No good. Tries to get the rebound, but does not. It ends up in the hands of DeMar DeRozan. Might have to start playing the foul game soon. He gets it to Monk. Pump fake over to Sabonis. He is fouled. And yeah, I think it's time to start fouling here. Sacramento will inbound. Sabonis over to DeRozan. And he will not be fouled yet. It looks like they're going to let him play. DeRozan on the drive. Layup is no good. Another stop from Trace Jackson Davis. Have to score here. Curry with it. Step back. Open 3. Is good. 1 possession ball game. He has 38. It goes to Jordan McLaughlin, who is fouled by Steph. So he'll go to the line to shoot 2. First one gets the, again, luckiest bounce I've ever seen. There has to be magnets on the rim. Second one. Toilet roll in. Who would have thought? We have to investigate the Sacramento Kings for cheating. This is insane. 5-point lead. Curry on the drive. Quick layup is good. We're right back to square one. The lead is within 3. Off the inbound, Sabonis this time gets it to Malik Monk. I think they'd rather have Monk at the line here than McLaughlin. You probably trust him a little bit more in this spot. First one for Monk. Nothing but net. 4-point game. Second one now on the way for Monk. Nothing but net again, and we're going to use our last time out here. This might be where Golden State has to think about shooting the three. On the last possession, we got the quick two. We were able to make it a 3-point game, but at this point, with under 20 seconds to go and now being out of timeouts, it's desperation time. We're going to bring Moses Moody in to replace Wiggins. I trust Moody a little bit more as a catch-and-shoot option. Obviously, we're looking for number 30 to shoot the ball here. But if he's triple-teamed and we have to pass it out to somebody else, I want our best catch-and-shoot guys in the game. So it is Curry with it. Gets an open look for three. No good. Rebound by Keegan Murray. He's fouled. And that might be the dagger. He will go to the line to shoot two and look to finish things off here for Sacramento with under 12 seconds. First one is good. Lead sits at 6. Second one for Murray is good. The Kings have been money here at the line. And it is a 7-point game. Curry's probably going to have to throw one up, I guess. Step back. Deep three is good. He's got 43. 4-point game with 5 seconds left. I don't know if there's a chance, but Curry's trying to keep us in it. Malik Monk now will go back to the line. First one is good. 5-point game. 2-score lead. Second one is no good. Finally, an unlucky bounce. Could it have happened earlier than this, maybe? Buddy Hield throws it up at the buzzer. Don't know if he got it off in time. Didn't go in anyway. Wouldn't have counted anyway. And that'll do it. The Kings win a good one. 119-114. A very competitive matchup that went down to the wire. It felt like the Kings had control of this game the entire way. And we stayed in it until the end. But the Kings never let go of their lead in the second half as close as we made it. Bringing the deficit as close as 2. Curry had 43 and 13. Started slow, but finished excellent. 29 points in the second half for Steph. Double-double for Jonathan Kuminga, 15 and 10. Struggled to shoot the three ball, though. We really didn't shoot the three ball at that high of a level. Buddy Hield went 2 for 8. And then Draymond Green off the bench, 3 for 3. Didn't miss. I can't imagine he's had many games like that this year. So if we're looking for a positive, there it is. As for Sacramento, DeMar DeRozan led the way. Got hot early, made some big plays down the stretch. 34 points on good shooting, 25 for Monk. McLaughlin played well. Keon Ellis played really well. Solid game for Murray. We did stop Domantas Sabonis, though. He's averaged over 23 a game. Trayce Jackson-Davis had an outstanding performance defensively, and if he continues to have games like this, you know, maybe he could be our long-term starting center, even though he's a little bit undersized. He's certainly good enough as a rim protector to handle it, despite only being 6'9". So with that, we're going to simulate up to around the trade deadline. The deadline day itself is February 6th. I think it makes sense to stop right in front of February 5th. So we've got a 6-game homestand. It's honestly a pretty easy stretch of games. I think we can win a few here. And we get an interesting offer from the 76ers. Buddy Hield for Caleb Martin and a first-round pick. I'm not going to say yes yet, but I like the idea. Caleb Martin's been kind of disappointing this year. Buddy Hield's the better player, but that pick could be valuable. I'm not so sure the Clippers are going to be good in 2029. This trade is hilarious because the one guy in the league who is shooting worse right now than Draymond is Jaden McDaniels. 38% from the field, 19% from 3, 45% true shooting percentage, and his estimated wins added is dead last in the entire NBA. Yikes. Not to mention, he is on a large 5-year contract. Kevon Looney, high left ankle sprain. That's not good. So Trayce Jackson-Davis will now be getting a regular load of big minutes. And this was always likely going to happen given how he's played. But it's going to happen a little bit earlier than expected. Jonathan Kuminga for Kobe Buffkin. I think I'm going to pass. If we can get Zion Williamson and Jimmy Butler for him, I'm not interested in Kobe Buffkin or Aaron Gordon. But at least that offer is a little bit more respectable, I guess. This trade would be hilarious. I'm not going to do it because Trayce Jackson-Davis is probably the best asset here. But having Draymond and Durant on the same team again would be funny. In the 6 games we simulated, we went 5-1. We move into 5th place in the West, 28-21. Love to see it. Beat the Bulls, beat the Lakers. Close win against the Jazz, 43 for Steph, 35 for Kuminga. And the legend of Jonathan Kuminga is just getting started. Against the Suns, 50! Not 49, not 51, 50 for Jonathan Kuminga, who's now averaging 20 a game. Finishes January averaging over 25. Curry had 31 and 11. And then to start the month of February against Orlando, 28 for Curry, 28, 8 and 8. While Kuminga had 28 and 11. This duo is winning us games. They are playing so well right now, and given that we're in 5th place in the West, 7 games above 500, it's hard to make an argument for us to sell. This team is in position to buy. The question is, how aggressive are we going to be? Are we going to make the big splash now for a second star? And if we do, will we be able to keep Jonathan Kuminga, who's playing out of his goddamn mind? Will we be able to keep him on our roster? Should we be a little bit more conservative? Maybe go for solid role players. Do something like the Buddy Hield, Caleb Martin swap, get the extra first-round pick. I don't think that'd be a bad idea regardless of what direction we go. So that'll wrap up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of the trade proposals and possibilities down below in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.